how to perform a $60,000 AI audit as an AI agency. This is a follow-up video to the one that I've done previously on is AI replacing us as agencies? And the answer is on the development side, yes. And the solution to this that we've had at my agency, Morningside AI, is to pivot more into offering the consultancy services and education as the sort of primer for the development services that we already offer. So as promised, this video is kind of the follow-up to that, breaking down our exact process, how we've got here to about 6 to 8 months of really refining our consulting process, building our consulting team to the point that we've been able to deliver these kind of things. So if I can kind of shortcut your progress to this point so that you can start to tap into this enormous market that there really is like no supply for right now, then that's sort of something I'm happy to do and share with you all. So this is essentially about how small AI agencies can pivot to become AI transformation partners, which is what we're calling this new model now of transforming businesses and sort of partnering with them through the full cycle of AI transformation in order to claim some of this $50 billion in the consulting gap that has not really been addressed. So we're going to be covering firstly how Morningside, my agency, has pivoted into consulting, our journey from pure development into the strategic consulting as well, the $50 billion market gap that we've discovered, why we're going all in on this AI transformation partner model, the behind the scenes and how we actually perform a $60,000 AI audit and the process we use. Then I'll be breaking down one of our $60,000 AI audits, followed up by giving you the 4-week framework that we use for these kind of things, our exact process and the step-by-step of sort of week-by-week basis of what we do in these audits. And finally, most important for all of you, we're going to be breaking down the beginner-friendly strategy for starting to offer these. This is obviously a bit more advanced. It's taken us quite a while to get here, but I'm going to be giving you a super sort of entry-level AI audit and AI consulting package that's distilled down from what we've done, and we've done with sort of small businesses and bigger businesses, and exactly what I would do if I was trying to pivot my agency into offering these kind of services as well. So it's going to be a simplified 2-week assessment rather than a 4 or 6 or 8 week, which we've done all of those before. So stay tuned for that, because I'm going to give you a full step-by-step guide on how you can do that first audit as well as a resource that comes with this video. If you don't know anything about me, you probably do if you're watching this video, but there it is on screen. You can pause it for a bit. We've grown very fast in the AI space, and I sort of started off a few years ago and didn't have any AI experience, and now we are running these kind of audits for companies and development projects as well. A little bit of a refresher on what we've touched on in previous videos. The reason we're in this position of needing to talk about doing AI consulting and AI audits is because we're having this sort of encroachment of AI onto the services that we normally provide of development services and building automations and workflows and agents. And more we're seeing things like Claude and N8N and Microsoft Copilot and Cursor and all of these like Bolt and Lovable and these kinds of apps, making it easier and easier for businesses to essentially self-serve the AI automation development that they need. There's all sorts of other problems that come from that. Well, that they can develop it, but they realize it's actually a lot harder to know where to put it, which is essentially where we can fit in as agencies. As if this is commoditized, if people can kind of attempt to try it themselves, then where does the value go for us? And for us, it's all about the AI consulting opportunity. So that's what we're going to be touching on in this video. So a bit of proof of success of what we've done at Morningside. If I walk through the journey in order to get here of doing these $60,000 audits, we started off with a free audit that we lost $30,000 on. So this is, I guess, an interesting thing for you guys to know is that even at my stage and for the size of my company, we are still having to make bets. We're still having to use, in this case, warm connections and reach out to people that we know. Hey, we have this new offer. We have this new thing that we want to do. We will do it completely for free. And so I went $30,000 into loss on our first project. It was 8-week long AI audit for a steel company in New Zealand that we'll get into a little bit later. But we were willing to say, hey, we want to learn this. We're willing to put up some money to do the work that basically no one else is willing to do and figure out how to really do a good consulting process for a business of this size. And so our first one was free. It was 8 weeks long. It cost us $30,000. The one after that was $30,000, and that was our first paid one, and it was 6 weeks long, and we've wrapped that up. Our current one is a $60,000 4-week audit, and we also have proposals out right now for larger companies for $80,000 and more. So that is the sort of journey we've had to get here. And as you can see here, by doing the consulting offer, we've been able to essentially attack bigger and bigger clients and get better and better case studies for our agency, because it's very difficult to do huge development projects for very large companies, but it's a lot easier to do a consulting project with a much larger company because you're not actually getting into the weeds just yet, right? Then you can start to pick off the development projects one by one at the end. Essentially, we've been able to work with bigger and bigger companies than ever before, and that's ultimately setting us up for a much smoother transition into development. You can kind of see the consulting projects that we do as a like 6-week or 4-week sales cycle, just really like discovering more about the business, learning more, getting to know them, building trust. And that means that the development projects come off the back very, very easily. We understand their whole business. We understand and the tech stack they want to use. And we get to start fresh with them in many cases where we don't have to sort of cobble on top of some other AI stuff that they've been trying to do. And with these kind of projects, there's been virtually no competition. We're only starting to just compete with some of the bigger sort of old guard consulting companies as we go to bigger and bigger companies. But for the small to medium business market, there's basically no one offering what we do, this full service AI strategy and development offer. And like I said, the dev deals kind of close themselves after you're finished, as we're going to show a bit later. When you make these recommendations, they go, oh, well, like, you know everything about our business. You've done more digging into our processes than we've done in the past years. And so we'd take your recommendation very seriously, and the dev deals make sense for them. So before we jump in any more, I guess it's important to just touch on kind of what is consulting if you're new to this thing. What is this all about? How did it come about? And what are we actually, what's the value that we're really providing? So I'm a bit of a history buff, as you guys will know. And so I like to look back to history. So where did this stuff come from? It actually came from the Industrial Revolution, where you have companies like McKinsey being founded in 1926. And since you had this manufacturing and logistics chaos, that created a lot of unprecedented complexity for companies who were trying to keep up and adapt as they shifted into this very industrialized world. How do they keep up, and how do they understand the changes in technology that are going on? Then we had the dot-com boom, where you had the internet disrupting basically every aspect of business and how they interact with their customers. And then you have web agencies and digital agencies that emerge to do strategy as well and help them to plan their adaptation to this new technology. And today, the AI is obviously the current thing, and it's creating more complexity than any other technology in history, because it's not only changing, say, just the marketing or how you present your business online. It has the potential to change everything, including the business model itself. So you can think of consulting as helping businesses to navigate change that they don't understand. Right, I think that's the clearest way of putting it, really. And the takeaway here is that every technological revolution creates complexity. Complexity creates confusion, and confusion creates consultants. Consultants can be kind of a dirty word, and that's why the challenge is really on you as agencies and us as well, to break that stereotype of these consultants just being wafflers and not really knowing what they're talking about and just giving recommendations. And that's why we tie so closely our consulting with our development. Like anything that we recommend, we're the ones who are going to be on the hook for delivering it. So when you make the plan, you're a lot more responsible for the plan, right? And the reason this AI consulting thing is such a big opportunity is because these executives and companies are waking up to the fact that the AI revolution is going to be many, many times more impactful than anything that they've seen in the past. And they have no choice but to adapt now. The pressure's on them. And it's easier to hire consultants to come and tell them how to do it than to hire their own internal expertise that they don't even really understand how this technology or this industry works yet. The other option, if they don't do that, is just slow death. And this essentially sets us up for this enormous opportunity we have here. So the market growth for AI consulting is expected to grow to $73 billion in 2033. So that's one of the fastest growing industries on the planet. And with business, if you can just get in a fast growing industry and be okay, you're going to make a lot of money. As I touched on in my previous video around AI agencies being replaced, we're seeing increasing project failure rates in AI. It's twice the usual IT project. So if you have like a custom CRM project that you want to build internally, that might have a 40% failure rate. Whereas AI projects, we are seeing an 80 to 85% failure rate on AI projects. So a lot of companies are trying things and failing and not getting good results back from them. And this is leading to a growing disillusionment, as you can see here, of the number of companies that are scrapping AI initiatives. That means that they're attempting it, that they're really trying to put it into production, and then just giving up on it and going back to the old way. It's jumped up massively from year to year. And this means there's this kind of growing disillusionment with AI and what it can really do for businesses. And that creates the perfect storm for us to come in, and they've gone, hey, we tried it ourselves, it's way too hard. I need some help here. I need someone to come in and show me how to do it, which is what we're seeing with the companies that we're working with. And at the same time, they're seeing massive talent gaps as well. Very hard for them to acquire their own internal AI expertise, and they don't even know really what to hire for. Part of this opportunity for us as smaller, more boutique AI development agencies is to pivot into offering these AI consultancy services for small to medium-sized businesses, where the big consultancies that you'd think you'd be competing with, like Deloitte and PwC and these kind of big companies, they are more interested in these 100K to 500K deals and very long engagements, large engagements with larger companies. But there's no one serving this SMB market, and they're looking for, hey, we got 5 to 10, maybe 20 grand to offer on this. If you're looking at like small businesses, maybe 10 to 20 to 30, 50 employees, and the timelines need to be a lot shorter as well. So this is really the entry point for you into this AI consulting market, and you can move up market as we have recently. It's basically completely untapped right now, and particularly if you have a development agency right now, moving into strategy allows you to have that really solid base of technical understanding and then moving up into strategy. It's really been one of the biggest things for us in landing clients, is that they know that we have both sides. So that leads me to the new model here, which is the AI transformation partner, which is how we're branded Morningside now as an AI transformation partner. And we basically lay out a 3-phase journey for our clients, and it makes them feel like everything's going to be okay. We're going to sort out everything, right? Like, we have you from here to here and everything beyond. And this is sort of the peace of mind that you can bring. The value of your services goes up drastically when you can give them that peace of mind. So it starts off with discovery, so audit and road mapping, which we're going to get into, then actual implementation, what you might consider your current services. And then we have sort of partnership and ongoing optimization and ongoing consulting, which is probably a topic for another video. But there's a huge amount of value to be provided in this ongoing support and consulting as well. So essentially, companies are not buying dev work anymore. They're buying clarity in the world of AI confusion, and the dev work is just what comes after it. So we've basically cracked the code on how to do these. It was a bit of a puzzle for us for a long time. We were doing AI audits in sort of smaller ways, as many of you have probably done. You know, you hop on a call and figure out like a discovery call. Let's make it 2 hours long and figure out what you're doing. But that we never found that was really providing as much value as we wanted to, and wasn't as comprehensive. We didn't have enough time to get through everything, and you didn't get a full picture. So we've had to test this, as I've explained with the previous projects we've done, to kind of crack the code on how to do a really, really good AI audit here, and the exact method that we use. Our first one, the one that we lost $30,000 on intentionally, is a steel company in New Zealand called Asma Steel. And we basically put in a $30K investment on our end, which ended up giving us a $250,000 development pipeline from the back of this. So I'm just going to show you that slide in a second of the things we recommended and then the development costs that came off the back of it. But as I said, this was through a warm connection to my business partner. And I always say, like, that is the easiest way to get clients. I was like, warm connections. If you can present yourself well and send a few texts and communicate, and you've been a good person to a lot of people, and maybe passing your name on to people who would be interested in your services. So really look for those second degree connections. This was a first degree connection, but you can go second degree connection as well, where, hey, do you know anyone who'd be interested in it? So you get to access their whole network as well. And so off the back of this 8-week audit, we were able to identify 15 high impact opportunities for them. And the client was immediately ready to invest based off seeing the ROI that it offers them, not even just in terms of immediate, but also like a long-term ROI of the hours saved that could be put into other more revenue generating opportunities. And it basically positioned us for long-term partnership. And what we learned from this really is that these mid-market companies of 200, 300 employees, they do need these AI automation solutions, but they just have no clue how to get started. They are really on the starting line. They don't have the resources nor the specialized knowledge on how to approach AI in a meaningful and systematic way. And so as a result, they just kind of sat there. They sat on their hands and did nothing. And so they're waiting for the knight in shining armor to come and help them with the stuff. If you can make a good offer, and if you can, in this case, offer to do it for free. And so off the back of that project, we had this set of recommendations. This is just a portion of them. And the estimated implementation cost for that was $421,000. It's about 250 grand US. And you have things like the monthly hours saved, the full-time equivalent saved, and the estimated 1-year ROI and things like that. Immediately, you can see that they're saving the 700 grand just by replacing these with these AI systems, and they have this 400 grand cost. And this is what we calculated based off the hours of the roles involved, if they were to be able to invest that time saved into revenue generating activities as well. So this math was all done based off the numbers they gave us, and they were super excited when they saw the clear ROI of, even in the short term, of these kind of system investments they can make. Another super helpful thing that you guys should know as you get into this is that there is a big distinction between the small smalls, as we call them, and the big smalls. So these are typically, depending on how you classify a small business, small businesses can be anywhere from like 1 employee to like 200 or more. You know, it depends on if it's a revenue, is it headcount, etc. But through the dozens and dozens of sales calls that we've had, it's clear that there are 2 categories, and these smaller businesses have a very different need. So we've done a beta test of 5 clients who are in this more small category. We did a free beta test for them, and we've also done the various projects that I've talked about before, and those were all what we call bigger smalls companies. They have more than sort of 100 people on them. And so the smalls, we realized that they have this very different, they just want stuff now. They want, what's the best tools now? We've got a sort of lean operation. We can put things into place. I want some immediate ROI from this. And so that's people like digital agencies, info businesses, mum and pop service businesses and stuff like that. They're a lot smaller, more leaner processes, a lot easier for the founder to step in and take action, say, bang, no, we need this here. Let's change that. Whereas as you get to bigger businesses, into these sort of big smalls, 100 to 200 plus, you see that they have much more complex sort of decision-making processes. They have much more complex systems and like legacy systems in the case of many of our clients that are a lot harder to shift on the fly. They're not based on make.com and Airtable and a Go high level. They're built on something much bigger and clunkier in many cases. And so they have a very different set of needs to these smalls. They're not so much interested in what can we do right now to make a whole lot of money. They're like, can you please just get us on the same page? Can you educate us on what AI is, what the opportunities are for us, and help us to sort of start planning our culture transformation? How do we actually get the ball rolling on this? And the implementation development stuff is really not on their mind at that point. They just want to get a lay of the land and know where the hell they are. So getting into how we actually structure these kinds of 60K audits. So this is definitely our proven format now, and our clients are over the moon when we deliver at the end of this. And it's not easy. It takes a lot of work, as you're going to see. But for $60,000 plus a great relationship with a client that you go on to do a ton of development stuff with, it completely makes sense. And for us, it's been really rewarding and fun to do a lot of these projects as well. So we start off with discovery and mapping. And so this is mainly done with stakeholder interviews. So my consulting team will get on calls with, I think we onboarded a new client like 2 weeks ago, and they had like 35 calls booked in the space of a week with stakeholders and with key team members, leadership, and sort of their second in commands and stuff like that, to get a lay of the land and really mine information about like, what do you do in the day-to-day? What are the main things you're struggling with? And then they use that to be able to make process maps, which I'm going to show you in a second, really map out all of the processes and systems and engines within the business. And through that, we can start to identify the pain points as well. And then in week 2, it's all about identifying their opportunities. So you're going to start to make an opportunity database based off those process maps and interviews you had, some technical feasibility assessments as well. And this is where your development experience really comes into play as an agency, because you know what's actually possible with these kind of systems, right? You know what's actually possible and feasible, and you know if you were going to be the one doing development, what you'd actually recommend, rather than just some pie in the sky stuff. Then in week 3, now that you have tons of opportunities identified, it's really about validating which ones of those with the users that you've talked to previously actually make sense for them. Hey, like, is this good? It's really about sort of temp checking them regularly. So you don't want to get to the end of week 4 where you are making a big presentation saying we recommend this and this and this and this. You want to be in the loop. This is one of the things that my head of consulting, Nick, is always talking about, is like, let's make sure that we are in the loop with them. They know sort of the direction we're moving towards. Otherwise, they're going to be a bit upset, because then you can get to actually float the ideas like, hey, well, this is something that we've used often, or we've seen used often, or we've built before. What would you think of this? No, we've thought about that, or that wouldn't really work because Jenny, she does this and this. So by staying in the loop with them and validating the solutions constantly within that solution design period, you get to actually work through that big list of opportunities you've got down to something that's actually feasible, not only from a technical standpoint, from what you see, and an opportunity standpoint, but also on their side as a team. And like, yes, I think this would work given our current setup, because they still have more context than you at the end of the day. And then that presentation will give them their final roadmap. So it'll be a 12-month roadmap, and they can sort of connect the dots between, okay, the first 3 months looks like this, then 6, etc. And importantly, in there are some quick wins to give them an ROI on the investment they've just made. And we find that there's often some super quick wins for them to implement. Oftentimes there's going to be a ready-made tool, not a custom system, but it's just, hey, there's a software out there that you guys need to be using. It's going to save you a shit ton of time. And those are some really good quick wins that you can give where you don't have to necessarily do the development as well. It's more of just a recommendation saying you should use this in there. And that in essence is consulting, right? Like, I have the knowledge of how this should be implemented, and you can create a lot of value just by using your knowledge to place something in the right spot. And also in this presentation, we're talking about how they can start to set up their AI change management systems, say their AI committees, if that's something they're interested in, how they can sort of continue to move towards an AI-friendly culture and a self-sustaining AI engine within the company that's not just going to peter out after we've gone. So for example, here's what one of our timelines looks like from a previous project. So just like you see here, it's basically aligned with the strategic alignment, discovery interviews, use case identification, refinement. So these all line up with these different weeks as I've just gone through here. So this is just one of like 75 slides that we gave in this particular presentation. So there's a lot of slide work. And as I mentioned, there's this process mapping that we do. And so as you can see in week 1 here, where we're talking about current state process mapping. So you're doing all of these interviews, mining the information out of them, figuring out what their systems are, and we map it all out in great detail. This is an example from a smaller business, so they get a lot more complex in this. But basically, how are they getting customers, their acquisition systems, their delivery systems, and their support systems. So mapping all of these processes out, the decision trees, the key people involved, the key value creation processes. Once we have this all mapped out, then my team can actually go in and start to apply, okay, where are the bottlenecks here? Well, here's a red star here. Seems like people are really struggling with this. This is an area of major interest for us. What kind of AI tools that are existing can we apply? What kind of AI systems or basic automations could we put in there? Or is there sort of a full rethink of the system needed, which is a much more difficult thing to pull off, but sometimes it needs to be done. So now what you've all been waiting for is how to perform your first AI audit. This is where the rubber meets the road for you, and I really urge you guys to listen carefully for this and take action, because I'm going to give you a resource in a bit on how to do this. But this is going to be a game changer for your agency if you can figure it out. It's not going to be easy, but it is definitely worthwhile once you make the jump. So your entry point here is essentially a beginner's playbook for an AI audit for these small companies. you likely don't have the resources nor the knowledge or capabilities to start to tackle these big smalls as we are doing right now. That's not to say you won't get there, but this is the way forward and this is the way to get there. So I'm going to be starting you guys off on a 2-week AI opportunity assessment / audit to help small businesses to discover their quick wins and build trust for bigger engagements. So it's important to see this as like I said, as like a 2 weeks extended sales cycle, similar to how I told you guys to use exploration milestones. And that was really what allowed us to grow Morningside so fast early on, is these exploration milestones where for our dev work, they couldn't keep hopping on calls and us trying to figure out what they want and scoping it out and presentations and this. It's like, okay, well, yeah, we think we can help you, but the next step here is for you to hop on one of these exploration milestones and we can dig in a bit more. And that's just extended the discovery phase for about a week, allowed us to get to know them more, learn more about their business. This is taking that to another level, just really building that trust and understanding of the business to make the development off the back so much easier. So these can be priced from 5 to 10K and can be done by you or one of your team. We may need to hire someone specifically for this more consulting role, and how to hire AI consultants is a whole different thing because it's a very unique skill set currently, but this is how I'd recommend you approach it. So it's going to be a 2-week AI opportunity assessment. The first week is going to be discovery, and you're going to be doing those stakeholder interviews. You're likely only going to need to do maybe 3 to 5 key team members. If it's a smaller business, say 10, 20, 30 people, there's going to be a few key people that you need to talk to there. Maybe you got to do 10 or 15 interviews, but basically these are 30 to 45 minutes each. They're going to be remote or in person, depending on if you want to do sort of a local one. We've done both in person and remote. Remote works just fine. And here you're going to be focusing on the pain points that they go through, the repetitive tasks they're doing, walking me through your day-to-day, what are the key responsibilities you have, and what are the decision bottlenecks as well. When do you have to wait for someone to tell you what to do? Then you go into the process analysis, like I showed you here, of mapping all of this stuff out into their company-wide process map. That's going to help you to identify the data flows, how value is being created, the key steps, and the bottlenecks as well. And as a consultant, once you have this, you have everything you need to be able to really help this business because you have full context. And that's what you find in the development sales process, as we did at Morningside so often. It's just so hard to get to this point where you actually understand everything that's going on. And that's why this has been such a great change in the model for us. So the first week deliverables is going to be the interview summary document, process flow diagram, so the whole mapping here, and the preliminary pain point inventory of like, hey, look, these are the preliminary points of what we think are the bottlenecks here and the issues that we're going to address in the next phase, which is in week 2, where you go into solution design. And you're going to be identifying opportunities based off all of the bottlenecks that you've identified and the process maps you've created. And this is the bit I can't help you with, but you are going to have to figure out what can be applied where. You need to have a good understanding of AI automation and what different use cases are out there, AI tools, automations. You've got conversational AI, voice agents, text-based agents. Where can these things fit in? Or even existing tools like plugging in, hey, you should be using Fireflies here and analyzing this and setting it up. And like there's some very low hanging fruit that you can find, but it's important to put it into an impact matrix where you can see what are the sort of quick wins. I'll put an example on screen of what we do for our clients. I forgot to add a slide in here, but basically it's a difficulty value matrix and sort of difficulty on one side and value on the other. And obviously you're going to have the low difficulty and high value ones being quick wins. And then you've got bigger things that are like high difficulty but high value as well, which is sort of your big swings. And so it's important to be able to identify what are the quick wins and how can you sort of map those to leading up to the bigger swings later. Then to wrap that second week up, you need to do sort of validation. So hop on calls with them again and say, hey, this is what we're looking at here. We recommend these are the kind of things we're looking at for you right now. What do you think? Would these fit in? Getting that validation from them. And then with that, you can go to the final week 2 deliverables where you're given like the top 3 opportunities, giving a 90-day implementation roadmap for, say, linking the quick wins and then leading up to maybe a 6-month roadmap where you have some bigger swings in the pipeline. And all of this is going to be tied together into an executive presentation, like the slides that you've seen already from the Morningside projects, into a slide deck that you can hop on and present to them. These are the findings of our assessment. And if you're smart about it, you say, this is the estimated ROI, and these are the estimated costs for development for each of these. And that's how you get your development deals right off the back of it. So that's about it. I'm going to be giving away, as promised, a resource that shows you guys how to do this step by step, all the things on screen here, interview guides on how we conduct our interviews, the AI opportunity matrix, ROI calculator, and some ready to use slides as examples for you guys to start popping your information onto those slides. It's going to be in the first link in the description, and I just want you guys to be able to jump on this as well. Like I said, $70 billion industry, $50 billion being in the small to medium sized businesses. I can't take it all. I've got more to gain here in terms of personal brand growth than trying to soak up all of these things. Like, we already can't deliver more than we are right now because you need to hire so many people to do this sort of stuff. So you guys get all over this. I'm excited for you guys to get into it. It's definitely a tough shift, but it's the smartest play right now, in my opinion. And you want to move from being like, I build AI systems, to I transform businesses with AI, which is really what we do at Morningside now. And I think that's a much more resilient positioning in the market than being solely reliant on development. And you build like much richer and longer term relationships with your clients, where you can take them and be partner, full service. I take you from here to here, and then we have an ongoing relationship. I'm so excited to share with you what our kind of ongoing model for this is, but that is probably info for another video. So the window's open, guys. Go hit it, go smash it. This is an important step for you. And of course, if you are a business owner wanting to get help with your AI strategy and AI transformation, you can work with myself and the team at Morningside to help you make that jump, whether it's an AI auditing, road mapping, development, training your team, placements, etc. We are here for you every step of the way. And if you guys haven't already watched my video on is AI replacing AI agencies, which is kind of the precursor to this, about how development is kind of going to zero and becoming commoditized, then that'll be popped up here somewhere on the screen somewhere. And yeah, that's it for the video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.